y'all, it's Allie from Little Hill Homestead. Today is tallow day. We're gonna be showing you guys how to do the wet method on how to render tallow. So today I have 10 pounds of tallow that we're gonna be doing. I have another 10 pounds to work through after this. We got our tallow from a local farm to us called Windy Hill Farms. They're in Sonoy, Georgia. We like their products, and so he gave us a fantastic deal. We got 25 pounds of tallow for 20 bucks. So go in there and see if you can't make a deal with them. Sometimes they just need it out of their freezers. But that's what we're gonna be rendering down today. They're located in Sonoy, Georgia. So if you're local to Sonoy, Sonoya, depends on where you live, how you say it. It's where The Walking Dead was filmed, actually, in case you didn't know. We're maybe 10 minutes from their farm, and so we get it there. But we're gonna be grinding this up in our meat grinder today. You can, if you don't have a meat grinder, just do it in small cubes. We're gonna be running this today through our meat grinder, and then we're gonna be using a roasting pan today because our crock pot is too small to do this quantity. But I'm gonna be showing you the wet method, which you can do in a crock pot or a roaster or stovetop if you want the smell in your house, up to you. Anyways, I will get this ground up, and then we'll be back to show you how to get it going. Okay guys, we have moved outside because I like to do this outside because it does let off a smell. If you want to do it in the house on a nice cool day where you can open up the windows and stuff, have at it. So we have our 10 pounds of fat. We have basically ground it up. It's a pretty rough grind, but you can do just cubes and it's totally fine. I'm gonna drop that into my roaster and I'm gonna put it on like 200 degrees and then kind of eyeball where I'm gonna go from there. So for the wet method, the way that this works versus the dry is you're adding water. Get it? Wet? Okay, so for this method, it doesn't lose any of its nutritional benefits. It doesn't lose any of the vitamins. It doesn't lose anything except for the aroma, the beef aroma that comes off of it if you don't do this method. So we're going to be making some goat milk soap that does tallow goat milk. And so we needed it to be odorless. Oh, I love her. But so what you're gonna do is a 5-to-1 ratio of water. So we have a lot of beef fat in here. It's about, I think it was like 18. It was more than 18, 24. I don't know. So I'm gonna add 8 cups of hot water just going into our pan. The other thing you need to kind of start to break it down is salt. So you need like a half of a tablespoon for every 6 to 8 cups. That's my guess. So I'm going to be doing 3 tablespoons of salt just to get a nice base going on this guy. Okay, I have a really long-handled wooden spoon. That's what I'm going to be using today just to kind of continue to break this down. So this is kind of an interesting mix. I don't know if you can see it. I'll move you over here so you can see it. It's not appealing, so maybe I won't. But it's very sludgy. Let me see. This is really hot already. Yeah, I can't bring you over here. Let me see. I'll bring you over this way. Sorry, guys. There's my hand. Ugh. So it's very like sludgy at this point mix. It's going to start to warm up and break down. My tallow, by the way, I put it in the sink overnight and just let it defrost. That way it was defrosted. I know you can use frozen too. So that's where we are. I'm just going to keep an eye on it for the first hour. Make sure my temperature is good. You do not want to burn this. If you burn it, it's basically like trash. So that's where we are. All right. Be back. Okay, you guys. It's been maybe 45 minutes. I wanted to show you what you're kind of looking for. See how it's just barely bubbling on these edges? And it's just starting to kind of like look a little bit cooked. It's starting to break down really nicely, and it's definitely like a liquid. Well, this is when you're gonna take your immersion blender, boom, and you're just gonna immersion blend the bejesus out of it. You're gonna do that until you have no more chunks. So let me go do that. I know you guys love the sound of my blender, so I'm gonna skip the filming of it, and I'll bring you back to show you the consistency once we're done with that. BRB? Okay, here's after I did my immersion blender the first time. It's not quite broken down all the way, so it just sort of blended. But I need to continue to let it cook a little bit more, and then I'll come back and I'll zip it one more time with the immersion blender. So we'll be back probably in a half hour. I'll zip it again with the immersion blender. BRB. Oh, why do I keep saying BRB like it's a text message or something? Anyways, we'll be right back. Okay, guys, we're doing a check-in. It's like 4 in the afternoon. This has been going pretty much all day. I did end up turning the temperature to about 300 degrees, but do you see how you can clearly see what is meat and what is not? We are ready to strain, you guys. So all I'm gonna do is strain this through cheesecloth to get those chunks out. I put those chunks in my dog's homemade dog food, and then I'll show you what we go where we go from there. Okay, we're in the house. I feel like my phone is like greasy from dog food stuff. Hold on. I keep getting oil and stuff on it doing this process. So I have just a container for the oil to go in. I'm probably gonna need a bigger one, but it's fine. I have a metal mesh strainer and I lined it with cheesecloth. I have a bowl over here as well to collect any ground beef that comes off of this because, like I said, we put it in our homemade dog food. Why let it go to waste? It's just beef. So I'm just gonna put this in the sink. Just remember anything that you guys rinse off with this, you want to wipe it with a paper towel first so that nothing's going down the drain because this will clog your drains pretty easily. So we're just gonna run it through the cheesecloth, strain off any of the meat, and get as much of our beautiful liquid as we can. Now here's the fun part with this liquid version. It still has some water in it, obviously. That's why it's the wet method. So we're gonna strain it for day one. We're gonna put this in the refrigerator, and water and oil obviously separate. The tallow becomes a hard disc that's gonna sit on top. So make sure you have room in your fridge to put it in there. I usually do it overnight, and then you'll put it back into our pot tomorrow and do this again to get any impurities out of it. So it's kind of a two-step process. So it is a longer process than doing the dry method, but if you don't want the smell, this is how you gotta do it. So I'm just gonna keep straining. Like I said, sometimes if I have a lot of the meat chunks left, I will freeze it for my homemade dog food. It does just fine like that. It's just cooked meat. So they like it. Tastes like beef, so hey. But there we go. I'm just slowly straining it out. And I will do this entire container, and then I'll pop it in the refrigerator, and I'll be back tomorrow to show you step 75. No, the next part of how we gonna process this. All right, we'll be back. It's the end of a long day, by the way. This is a Friday. It was one of those days where you wake up and you're like, oh, I have a couple things to do, and then the world just throws up on you and gives you 75 million tasks. Some of them were self-caused. It's probably part of it, but it's fine. Dinner's already ready. I made a chicken pot pie. I need to show you guys that recipe because it's a great way to use up leftover turkey that's coming up. Anyways, I'm just gonna go strain me some meat, y'all. I'll see you mañana. Bye. Hey y'all, it's day 2. Our tallow sat in the refrigerator overnight, and it is now a solidified piece of tallow sitting in our bowl. So it's best to do in a big bowl. You're gonna use your fingers and hopefully it just pops right out. So I typically can push on one side and it does like a plunger effect. I can get it to do that. Okay. We do not have a lot of water at the bottom of ours. We actually have none. That's pretty awesome. So I take a paper towel lined, what's called baking sheet for mine. And you're going to take this gelatinousy layer that you end up with. This is like it's literally Jello, off. So we're going to just pick a knife. How about you? And you're going to scrape off the gelatinous stuff or any meat particles that you did not strain out. Sorry, I'm working on multitasking here at its finest. I need water to redo outside, so I'm trying to fill some containers. So basically, I'm just going to slice this top layer and scrape it off. That's going to be our little impurities. You want to do this kind of until you don't see that layer. You're going to refilter it again so you kind of don't see that layer going on. But this is pretty good. There's no like meat chunks or anything. Sometimes you'll see like what looks like ground beef stuck to the bottom of it. We don't have that, so that's a really good sign. Pretty good first round. Depends on the cleanliness. It depends on how clean your meat was. That's part of it. But how long you cooked it off, how well you strained it. The better you strain it, the less work you're going to have to do at this point. So, okay. Pretty clean tallow little piece right there, you guys. So just any of that, just take it off. And we're going to take this back outside for round 2. Round 2 is going to be the same thing. You're going to put water and salt in it again and remelt this. So let's move outside and I'll show you that. Okay, guys, we have moved outside. I've got my roasting rack back in here again. What we're going to need today is another 8 cups of water going into the bottom. I had this on for a few minutes, so it might sizzle. 8 cups of water going in. 6 to 8, depending on how many. So it's a 5-to-1 ratio. Whatever your original pounds or cups were, it's 5-to-1. And then a half of a tablespoon of salt for each. What am I talking about? So I did like 20 cups. I'm doing 3 tablespoons of salt. You need that to like draw out the impurities. So my disc. Let's see if I can pick it up. We got our solid disc of tallow. And my hands are going to get nice. It's going to just drop right into the water salt mixture. And and then all this like leftover gunk that we had just goes in the trash. You don't want that for anything. So I'm just going to stir my salt in a tiny bit. Probably could have done that before I dropped my tallow in, but it's fine. And then the tallow is slowly going to start to melt into here and become very similar to how it was yesterday, which is just so we're going to do this another 7 or 8 hours today and just let it kind of do the same thing. All the impurities are going to come off of our tallow. It'll separate the water, and then we're going to dump it in a bowl again at the end of today. And then you keep doing this same process until the bottom of your tallow cake, yum, wouldn't you want to eat that, until there's nothing at the bottom of it, no impurities. So that's how we're going to get the cleanest, non-beefy smelling tallow. So this is day 2. We'll do some check-ins again today and see where we end up. Cool? Cool. Okay, bye. Hey, y'all. It's late in the day. This has been going for hours and hours and hours. And I'm tired. You never have those days where you're like, dude, I don't know what happened, but we got a lot done today. We cleaned the garage. Fun, right? And we made a bunch of trugs because our Etsy shop is back open, in case I forgot to tell you guys. So this has just been going all day. You can see a little bit of sediment, not too terribly bad. So today I'm going to do the same thing again. We're going to strain it through the metal strainer. But today I'm using coffee filters because I ran out of cheesecloth, and I've done this method before. I like the cheesecloth better, but I'm out. So all I'm going to do is take my ladle again, and I'm just going to sit here and strain it through again into my big bowl till I get all that sediment out. This is a great way to do it because that's going to catch just so much stuff. It takes a while, though, to do it, but I'll just come out here every few minutes and I'll put a couple ladles in, and then hopefully this doesn't fall in. That was not smart. I usually do on a smaller bowl because this never seems to stay put like I'm hoping. Anyways, so I'm just going to keep going, running this through my coffee filter. If you find that the coffee filter is too slow, you can run it through cheesecloth. You could run it through, I think you could probably run it through a paper towel, to be honest. I don't have paper towels that aren't unbleached, so I'd rather not use that. Old kitchen towel, like a flour sack towel, will work too. But for now, I'm just going to sit here and strain this. And then this bowl is going to go back into our refrigerator again overnight to separate our tallow from our water. There shouldn't be too much left since I did let it run all day, but that is our next step. So off to go strain for the next, probably going to take me a half hour to get this all strained out, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. All right. We'll see you tomorrow when we've got a nice big tallow cake again, and I'll show you the next steps because we're getting real close, you guys. We're getting close. All right. See you tomorrow. Back again. It's day 3. Day 3. We're having not a lazy day today. We're getting stuff done around the house, but I figured I would jump in and show you next steps. So here's our towel. It's hardened back up. I can hear that there's water underneath it this time. So that's kind of interesting. Same thing. You're going to push on it to get it to flip out the side of the bowl. Come on. It's created a little seal now, so that's fun. And we're going to lift it out. Oh my gosh, you guys, that's great. That's all I've got. That's awesome. So that's really good, actually. My water in the bottom is not gelatinous or anything. It's just kind of a little bit dirty, which is good because that means you're getting all the gunk out you don't want in there. So again, I'm going to pick a knife, and you're just going to scrape off any impurities that you've got. You may have another thick layer like we did yesterday. You may have no layer at all. I mean, this is really good. So I'm just going to scrape off anything we've got left. I'm going to just use a paper towel because it's kind of liquidy today. So I'm just going to kind of use a paper towel to scrape up anything I've got today. Y'all, I'm quite impressed. That's not bad at all. Okay. So the thing with tallow now is, in order to make it shelf stable, you need it really, really dry. If you wanted to do another round of putting it into the pot, doing the impurities, all that, you can. Again, I don't need to because mine is pretty dang clean at this point. Like, look at that. It's a pretty good tallow cake we have going on there, you guys. But it has some water on it. So what? All right, guys, I brought you outside and I wanted to show you something. Do you see? I let this sit for a little bit. Do you see the water that has formed on top? Okay, you don't want water or any moisture in your tallow. So what we're gonna do is put the tallow cake in here and let it go for a couple hours to get all that water burned off. All that we need to do that is to put this in here. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. Put it in there. And you just let it cook down. So you'll know when the water is out of it, because when there's water in it, it's gonna spatter and make like little bubbles. When all your water's cooked out in a couple hours, it won't do that anymore. So I'll bring you back in a couple hours and I'll show you where we are. So right now we just have our tallow, no water, no salt, no nothing. Just we have it at 250 degrees and we're just gonna let it roll for a couple hours. All right, guys, it's been going for a couple hours. You see that it's got like little white bubbles going on. That's our moisture trying to get out of there. So we're just gonna keep going until that doesn't happen. I thought it'd be done by now, to be honest, but it's still got a lot of moisture in it. So let it keep cooking. All right, guys, it is finally done. It's been going for like 6 hours. This took a lot longer this time to get all the water out, but there's a few bubbles. That's just from me stirring it. But all the water is out, and all I'm gonna do at this point is put it into my mason jars, and I will show you the finished product once it cools back down. Oh, you can see my clock. Isn't that fun? There's our completed tallow. Yeah. What a beautiful morning it is on Little Hill Homestead. So, did I tell you, by the way, that I have some very talented nieces and nephews, quite a few of them. And one of my nieces is in school to do graphic design, so she's remaking us a logo. Probably two, actually, because I'm indecisive. And then my other nephew is very, very talented. He has his master's degree, and he's doing like the adulting thing now. But he is a very talented musician, used to be in a band. And so he is writing us a theme song. And so we're gonna have a little intro or extra. Intro or exit? I don't know. Anyways, super excited about that. It's in the works right now. But anyways, our tallow is done. You guys, I let it sit overnight. We got 3.5 quart jars of our tallow. Boom, isn't it beautiful? It's shelf stable at this point. But I wanted to tell you one more thing. Last night, I had 10 more pounds of tallow to process, and I'm kind of over processing tallow, to be honest, because I've done 25 pounds at this point. So instead of grinding it up, I decided just to stick it whole. It was still frozen into my roaster. So I had 2 big packs. I threw the water and the salt in there, put the frozen stuff on top, set it to 250 degrees, and I went to bed. When I got this morning, I hit it with my immersion blender, you guys. Look at it. Look at it. Yeah, skip that step. You could just go this route, and much, much easier, much, much cleaner. And it's processing the same. Yeah, I'm excited. Anyways, I'm off to go see what adventures I can get done in the kitchen today. And if you made it to the end of this video, you're braver than I am, because that was a long one, you guys. Who knew that 3 days of tallow was gonna happen? I sure didn't. Anyways, thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys as always, and I hope you have a fantastic day.